Am I the asshole? For wanting to teaching my child my national language? IF34 My husband M35 just recently had a baby. Our baby is 2 months and I told my husband I can't wait till I can teach our baby Spanish. He got really mad at me and said, "Are you kidding? You are not teaching our kid Spanish." I said, "Why not?" He said, "It's because I don't know Spanish, so I would be left out and I never know if you guys would talk bad about me or plot something against me." I started to laugh and said, "You know you can learn Spanish still if it makes you that mad." He stormed off and called me the B word and then left. Now I'd where he is and am feeling very guilty. Am I the asshole? Little update. So my husband just texted me and told me he is going to be staying in a hotel for a few days unless I agree to not teach him Spanish. Not the asshole at all, and your husband is. Being bilingual is an incredible advantage in life if you need practical reasons, and it'll mean your child can connect with both parts of their heritage in a more natural way. If your husband is worried about being left out, he can start learning Spanish. He's got a little while before baby starts talking. Not the asshole. How could you not teach your kid your own language? If he feels left out, he can learn. If he doesn't want to, he's an asshole. He's actually an asshole for not trying to learn when he got serious with a Spanish speaker. Not the asshole. There's nothing preventing him from learning Spanish, and the best time to teach a second language is childhood. Not the asshole, and if he's this controlling and already calling you a bitch over this, it's only going to get worse. I would highly recommend couples counseling. At 35 he should have better emotional intelligence. Not the asshole. Tell him to stay there forever. My husband just texted me and told me he is going to be staying in a hotel for a few days unless I agree to not teach him Spanish. Honey, you don't need Reddit, you need a marriage counselor. Your husband's being unreasonable, and you're not the asshole, but it seems to me that his behavior is a symptom of a much deeper problem. Not the asshole, and you have no reason to feel guilty. Being bilingual is a huge bonus. I'm pretty sure it has some developmental advantages, but feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, and you're right, there's nothing stopping him learning Spanish. As a biracial kid with a Mexican parent, I hate that I don't know Spanish. I feel so left out. So please teach the child. Also, if my partner called me a bitch, it would be over. We aren't always going to agree, but you won't name call me. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. My children speak fluent Welsh. We don't even live in Wales. Even some people born and raised in Wales don't speak Welsh. However, it is important to me, and so I speak Welsh to my children. Same deal with your child and Spanish. If he feels left out, he can stay out. Sounds a bit paranoid. Not the asshole. Start speaking primarily Spanish to your child right away. My GF did this in German from birth with both her babies, and they were totally bilingual at a very young age. Her husband, from what I understand, had no issue with it. Your husband has issues. I'm sorry you're in this situation. Bilingualism and multiculturalism are great gifts to give children. Absolutely not. In the business world, it can increase your salary just by speaking an additional language. Particularly one of the most prevalent ones in the nation. Not the asshole. Don't cave in. But, do send him a link to download Duolingo. Where do y'all even find these, man? Nata. But really, why didn't you talk about this stuff before having the baby? That said, your husband is a porcupine of red flags. Control regarding language. Paranoia regarding how you'll plot about him, talk bad about him. Now he's left you until you give in to his demand. Please do some signs on emotional mental abuse and signs of a controlling spouse. Because if he has these, I'm betting he has more. Not the asshole. This is really messed up behavior. Start strengthening your circle of support and making a backup plan for your life if you need to eventually leave. I know Reddit jumps to divorce over stupid shit, but bailing on your 2-month-old over this is really unusual behavior, and I'd be big picture worried. Wow, your husband is one manipulative, controlling asshole. Why deprive your child of a wonderful opportunity to speak a language, and one that is part of his heritage? Why is your husband so insecure? Has he had other jealousies since your child was born? Tell him you can teach him too, but this is non-negotiable. Not the asshole. Your husband called you a bitch? You need a divorce lawyer stat. Not the asshole. Wow, your husband is massively insecure. His first thoughts are the two you plotting against him. Now he is staying at a hotel? Was he like this before the baby? This is messed up behavior. I hate to say this, but I would suggest you get a lawyer and get ready for a divorce. I will happily say no, you're not the asshole. As an aside, frankly, we're seeing a lot of idiots coming out of the woodwork treating their wives terribly. I'm wondering if the wives are not noticing it while they're dating, or they're thinking they could change them. My husband and I are both bilingual, so our kids speak my husband's language and also mine, plus their first language English. I don't understand what they say most of the time in his language, he doesn't understand most of the time in my language, and no one is plotting anything against anyone. Your husband is acting like a toddler. It is ridiculous, to be honest. Triangular flag on post, triangular flag on post, triangular flag on post, triangular flag on post. I'm astonished women choose and marry and produce offspring with such men. Not the asshole lol. I'm Dutch. My GF is Mexican and we've met in America. We live in the Netherlands where German and French is mandatory. So our daughter will learn Dutch, Spanish, English, German, French. And I'm very happy for her. I've been trying to learn Spanish as well, but it's hard for me. Not the asshole. So he thinks that the only thing that is stopping you for plotting against him with the kid is the lack of the shared secret language? That's either paranoia, serious control issues, or an insulting lack of trust. Not the asshole, and your husband is a xenophobic asshole. I'm francophone, and my kids and I speak French all the time. My husband can't speak a word, but he picks up on context. The only real issue we've had is when my kids learned that the word for seal is fuck, and he was getting agitated because they kept squealing it in public when we saw them on the coast. You're not a bitch for teaching your baby your culture. Is he an ass about other cultural things? Is he always paranoid that people are plotting behind his back? Being bilingual is such a gift, not the asshole. Tell him to move out while he's at it, and make sure you call him a bitch too, smiley face. So weird to think his own wife and child would plot against him, woozy face. Not the asshole. Your husband on the other hand is huge red flag by calling you names. Think about leaving him. Not the asshole, and for the love of God, stop feeling guilty. You have done absolutely nothing wrong. Nothing. He's paranoid you are going to be plotting against in 4 years' time, is expecting his kid to be calling in a hit. Unless your kid is Stewie from Family Guy, might have a few issues then. Not the asshole. If he doesn't trust you, then should you be trusting him? Especially if he's refusing to come home unless you agree to not teach your kid Spanish. He sounds absolutely ridiculous. Nat, I would be pissed as hell if I found out I could have been bilingual but my racist dad refused. Your language is Spanish. There is nothing wrong with teaching your kid your language. Surely, he will speak his native language to the kid. OMG, I'm so sorry you have a kid with this guy. He sounds childish, controlling, and totally disrespectful. Of course you should teach your child Spanish. Do you know how many people wish they'd been taught more than one language as children, when language learning is at its peak? So many. Not the asshole. This sounds like a bit of a red flag. He obviously doesn't understand that your language is part of your son's heritage and culture. Mandlo Tomaviento, not the asshole at all. If he's so worried about not understanding Spanish, he can go learn it himself, like you very well said. What an entitled man. Not the asshole. What a massive overreaction. He can learn Spanish with the baby. Ignore him now, don't reply, leave him in the hotel.